Well, hello and welcome to the Sprinklr Coffee Club. I'm Marshall Kirkpatrick, your host here at the Sprinklr Coffee Club. We are in the special taped at home season here on the Sprinklr Coffee Club, and we're so glad that you are joining us here today whenever you're watching. Sprinklr Coffee Club is a show where we talk about digital transformation, customer experience, social media, and the events of the day, whatever they may be. We've got a network of thought leaders, friends, influencers, and their adorable family members who all contribute to the conversation. Hello, Zuzu. It's so nice to see you. So, folks, that is Zuzu on the call, joining us here with her mother, Sarah Evans. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us here today on the Sprinklr Coffee Club.
Thank you so much for having me, especially at this time in life right now where everyone is home and kids are off school.
Yeah, it's great. I hope you don't mind my introducing Zuzu with top billing. But we're excited to have you both here on the show. So, folks, Sarah Evans, for those of you who are not familiar, there may be a few out in the audience that aren't familiar with Sarah's work. She is a longtime industry leader in public relations, social media marketing, startups, web applications, and what have you, working with organizations large and small. And she brings a whole lot of smarts and care and a big network to her work. And we get to discuss that with her today. So, Sarah, before we begin talking about the big subject that's all-consuming on everyone's minds, I wonder if you could tell us what's the standard explanation of your work in normal times, and perhaps you can follow that up with an explanation of what that means today.
Well, our company really functions in a few ways. One, I get to serve as a strategic counsel to many brands on communications and PR, basically anything earned and organic in the digital space. And then I have Sevens Digital PR, which is really a full functioning unagency where we're able to do a full scope of digital PR projects for clients that spans from traditional media relations to working with influencers, podcasts, Medium. We hit every single area where target market consumers community could live and help to resonate with messages and help brands connect where they need to be, not just in terms of a tier 1 New York Times hit is amazing and can do wonders for your brand, but those are fewer and further in between. So what can we do in the meantime to keep brand messages resonating?
Wonderful. Good. Well, you have been wildly successful in doing that in a changing world. And here we are now with the world changing again. And you have been doing a really good job keeping your ear to the ground electronically, metaphorically, what have you, and have been sharing some really good information on Twitter in particular about the things that you're seeing around the industry with your clients, with companies in general, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And I wonder if you might help give us a picture of what kinds of company responses that you have seen as organizations struggle to deal with this reality and support their customers and employees.
You know, it's really easy to have the youth right next to me who is adorable and cute, and it is a very serious matter. And when we are, both what I'm seeing and when we're working with clients, it's very serious in nature to them. I know you'll perform for us in a little while. And so it really runs the gamut. We've spent a lot of time in meetings right now, triaging, listening, transitioning, working on making sure that messages are going to resonate in whatever way, shape, and form they're going to send them. Most importantly, we have to make sure they're tasteful and not tone deaf. It's one of the things I keep coming back to in everything that we do. Even the way we're working with media right now, explaining to people that the media are also triaging emails that are coming in, stories that they also have children who are home, so they're trying to find this new this new balance of how to actually get things done. And I may be working with a 3-year-old on my lap for, portions of the day, but we don't lose sight, myself and my remote team members of what we stand for. And right now we're only working with stories and working with brands who are in alignment with that. And we're very clear if we can't take something on or we can't pitch something because it's just not the time. And luckily, our clients that we work with, the stories that they're telling right now, whether it's to the public or to the media, they have to do something to either help or support eliminating COVID-19, or they have to be of service or focus to people being impacted by COVID-19, whether that's SMBs, other corporate institutions, or those laid off, furloughed, or otherwise impacted.
Sarah, do you have any advice for communicators that want to help? They need to communicate with the market, but they are concerned about staying on that tasteful side of the line and not coming across as exploitive or opportunistic or tone deaf. Any advice for how to be careful about that?
I do. In fact, I shared a tweet a week or two ago of just a chart that you could print out. I mean, it's simply a tweet, but something you can print out and put it at the header of your editorial calendar or address at the beginning of every meeting. And it's talking about the emotional impact of what you are about to send out and thinking about the types of people impacted right now. And I want to find where this is. I talked about offering opportunity to those who are now without. Can you provide something of value to them? Thinking about emotion. Someone has been recently laid off, or their spouse, or those who are ill, or people who are in an immune compromised scenario. If you start thinking about the emotional implication of people being impacted right now, fear, misinformation, rumors, fear mongering, all of those types of things, as long as you're not feeding into any of those and you're being mindful about the real emotions happening right now, business does have to go on. You still have to try to, make money and sell, but can you do that in a tasteful manner?
That's great. That's great. And I know that you shared one link to a roundup of different free and discounted commercial offerings that a variety of different companies were providing.
Mm-hmm.
I made sure to share that with my team at work. What kinds of steps are you seeing companies in the tech space take?
Well, we're seeing a lot, and I want to disclaim that beautiful document, the one I've been referencing, also was put together by Monty, who has done a phenomenal job of putting together brands and brands doing good. And I've also been following on my own various things that have been happening. One of the biggest transitions, we already lived in the time of, webinars and online opportunities to bring folks together, but people are really switching their style right now to summit-like content. And one of the first I saw to do that was Forbes 8 by Forbes. They came out and put together a business-focused summit called Business Resiliency. And they had industry experts come on and talk about what businesses can do right now. So this wasn't forward-thinking thought leadership. It was, we've all changed right now. The market has changed. Economics have changed. So what can you do? And then a lot of people and brands, especially tech brands, are acknowledging the brutal fact that a lot of brick and mortars are closing down right now, whether it's temporary or long-term, and they need resources to get online to continue their services if it's possible. One of the coolest stories I've seen right now is from One Dine, which is a restaurant technology app. The founder of this company, his customer are restaurants, whether franchise or mom and pop shops. And he realized all these restaurants were closing simply because they didn't have the technology that they needed. And overnight, he made all of his technology free and has offered to give it away to every restaurant in America. He's been sleeping in his office, and they're rolling it out in hundreds of restaurants, but they're looking they've identified a problem, they're trying to solve it. And that's what I see a lot of companies doing right now by offering their products for either free for a certain amount of time, or free for nonprofits, or free for those, at a certain economic level. And then, the one that just launched today, promo.com, they put together an entire support hub for SMBs around marketing, where they're giving away their product. They're creating content for these brands to make it as easy as possible. They're offering weekly support meetings. So if they're really struggling, and then they just transitioned one of their largest Facebook groups all to SMB support hub for COVID-19. And they're having industry experts come in every day and answer questions. So we're really seeing people step up to the plate.
Oh, that's fantastic. Those are some really great examples, and something that I can imagine folks throughout our audience drawing a lot of inspiration from. So thank you for bringing those here to us. Wonderful. I wonder if I could share with you a little bit about some of the steps that we are taking here at Sprinklr.
Please, I would love it.
Yeah, we'd love to tell you about them and get your thoughts and feedback and see what kinds of thinking it inspires. So there are a number of things that the Sprinklr organization is doing to support our customers and our employees. I want to focus on our employees today, because I'm really pleased with how our company leadership has stepped up throughout this. And one of the things that we are doing that has felt really positive has been a new practice of what we're calling daily heartbeat calls, where every day each team, now that they can't meet in the office, gets on a virtual meeting for 15 minutes just to check in about what they're doing throughout the day, but especially to check in on an emotional level, to communicate about how they're feeling, how they're doing. And in some instances, some teams have even invited family members who are there at home to come in and join the meeting and meet the people that their loved ones work with. And that has felt really, really inspiring and helpful.
I think that is so important. And one of my clients, actually last week, the kids were in the background. They've done really well. Actually, that's the most, it's like, she must know I'm talking to you, Marshall. So she jumps up and gets on my lap, but they could hear the kids in the background. And they said, you guys, can we just take a break? Does anybody else have kids in the room? Let's bring them on. Let's have everybody say hello. And my husband made a really good point last week that he said, this has brought out so much humanity, where we're forced to be less perfect, less censored, less filtered, because you can't avoid humanity when you're at home. As my daughter's stealing another marshmallow. So it is great. And I will tell you, as a woman and a business owner, you know, I put a lot of pride having my office as a place that it is my sanctuary and somewhere I can go, because it always helps me feel more put together and, you know, more focused. And you never know if somebody will make an assumption about you because you have children, you know, what you're able to put forth or what your output could be. And frankly, I've only had one client in my past 11 years who has ever cited that they didn't want to hear about my children. So. Oh,
wow. Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's interesting that anyone would say that, but I believe it.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think that you're alluding to something that feels really important to remember here at this time, which is about our finite capacity. We've all got varying amounts, but clearly finite capacity to support our work and our families and ourselves and our other priorities. And you're doing a remarkable job of still having this conversation right here while in the room with your darling family member there. But I think all of us, being more understanding for each other, not just during this time, but hopefully afterwards as well, will be a really positive development.
It's really forced us to. I don't know how we can ever come back from that. And that's not a bad thing. I don't mean come back from it like we should. I think a lot was missing. Just from a professional perspective, I was talking to a friend who has gone somewhat remote. They're in an essential field, so they still have to go out. But their team was required to be in the office at 6 a.m. every morning. And over time, they found out it's because people used to misuse time or hours. So it became a micromanaged opportunity to be able to see the entire team before they went out into the world. Well, guess what? The past 2 weeks, they've been going remote and nothing has faltered or failed because they weren't in at 6 a.m. So this may have just reinvented some semblance of a work-life balance where maybe they can see their kids in the morning now. instead of having to leave early because they're all still doing a great job. And the same person is a leader and explicitly told the team, like, this is your chance. This is your opportunity to show you can still do your work. So there will be opportunities out of this.
Oh, that's beautiful and really interesting to hear. Mm-hmm. Speaking of beautiful and interesting, one of the other things that the Sprinklr organization is doing is inviting everyone to twice daily guided meditation sessions. We've got a wellness leader here at Sprinklr that has, I think there's 60 or 70 people typically that join and follow a mindfulness and meditation practice. It's real secular in nature, focused on relaxation and stress management and what have you. But I've been hearing really positive things about it. Is that something that you're hearing other companies do, or that brings to mind any thoughts?
So you're the first that I've heard of. And in full disclosure, I haven't done a lot of ideating around that, and I absolutely love it. I've heard of a lot of teams and individuals who are doing a lot of, group chats, virtual lunch dates, those sorts of things for the, emotional or human connection. But I haven't talked to brands about not necessarily spiritual, but it does come down to that, to a mind body connection moment in time. And I think that is fascinating and wonderful. I've personally switched to all virtual workouts. So, any chance where you can connect with other people. I'm a group class type of person, so I do miss that component very deeply. So to know that other people are participating is very beneficial. And I am a Peloton owner, but still I miss the group class.
Speaking of workouts, that is the next thing that the Sprinklr organization is doing as well. We've got a trainer that is leading regular group workout sessions over video as well.
Can I come to one?
I think that you ought to. Yes, that sounds fantastic. Yes. We'd love to get your a visiting influencer to the workout session. Yeah, sounds like fun. Can you, given your experience doing virtual workouts, what is that like, and what are its what's it like at work, you think?
Well, right now it's novel, not like the virus, but it's new and exciting. So my husband and I, one of the biggest things we have in common is our shared love of fitness. So he and I love to work out together every weekend. Saturday and Sunday, it's when we have our day dates, and that's when we would go to the gym together, and we've got on a combined routine. Since this has all changed, we're having fun researching new workouts right now in a variety of ways. So we hit every body part, muscle group, that sort of thing, and we're looking for fun new things to do. This morning, my husband found a YouTube video down the search hole of a towel workout for back exercises. So you hold tension on a towel. So we're looking for things you can do at home. And we're also finding a lot of chat groups with friends who are offering access to their subscription plans, and we're sharing ours. So there's a lot of camaraderie around maybe people who you once had class with, or coworkers. I have remote team members who also love fitness, so we can just send a text to ensure everybody got their workout in every day. So people are banding together and coming together in different ways, and to see a corporate entity leading that way is even more powerful because it shows what an important investment it is.
I think so too. Yeah. You mentioned earlier the connection between body and mind, and that is arguably an arbitrary distinction to make between the two, and they're certainly closely connected. I will say that one of the things that I have been trying to do for myself and for my team here at this time is to look for opportunities to be brave, and look for opportunities to highlight meaning in our work. We're real fortunate at Sprinklr to have jobs, and real fortunate that the product that we offer is something that can help. Yeah. And so I take every opportunity I can to remind my team when a project that they're doing is going to make a difference to an organization in the world and to its constituents, its customers and employees. And I hope that explicit highlighting of meaning will make an impact as well.
It's important internal and external. And I will tell you, it's when you are freelance or separate from a corporate entity, sometimes you have assumptions about what is corporate appropriate. And when you're working with other freelancers, they may say, well, you can't talk about family, you can't talk about exercise, you can't talk about those things because it takes time away from the client or the company or your chance to make money. And I have found the exact opposite, which is why I talk about it. When all of those things are in motion and synchronistic and all work together, I do better work, I'm a better wife, I'm a better mother, and things just happen. And I found when I was avoiding those things, that's where the disenfranchisement happened. That's when things break down. So when you can accept that as a human, you need all of these components for well-being, you can be better. And I think organizations like Sprinklr already obviously understand that and know that. And that's why you're able to do great work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
I think that is helpful for our work. And I also think it's helpful for our well-being. I mean, there's only so much that can be done right now if a really substantial portion of people in the world are likely to fall ill here in this pandemic. One of the forms of actionable opportunity I feel aware of from myself and my family and my loved ones and my coworkers is to try to maintain our physical and emotional well-being to it as best we can in these difficult times, because it'll help us stay healthy and decrease the likelihood of our falling ill or seriously ill. And that's one thing that we can do.
I obviously 100% agree. We're in complete alignment.
That's neat. Yeah, alignment is always a challenge of leadership, and a couple of other things that I'll mention here in conclusion, and I wonder if you have any advice or thoughts about these. Are that we have started up a Slack channel that is focused on matters of well-being. People have started asking water cooler group questions on Slack for people to, share memories or funny things about themselves. And then our company leadership has been really proactive about getting everyone on the phone and being honest and brave at the same time. And the degree of integrity that people have shown in their communication, the empathy has been really, really motivating to me and really, really inspiring. Do you have any thoughts about that kind of alignment opportunity here at this time?
I have seen an absolute uptick, especially on social networks like LinkedIn and Twitter, where CEOs and executive leadership are posting more water cooler type questions, a daily question, a purpose connecting question, and inviting people to participate. I've seen media and reporters in their homes at their own kitchen tables doing live reports and news feeds. So it's evolving. I think it's just a natural implication because we're social beings, even if you're maybe introverted and not a huge in real life type of person. The extroverts of the world are looking for ways to connect also. And so this is just happening. I just saw today on a very popular Twitter chat, there's a CEO of a pretty big corporation who's going to be the featured guest. That's something you didn't typically see. And the goal of that is to help businesses and talk about what businesses can do right now. And usually you wouldn't get that kind of access at this level of corporation. So I think there's some more accessibility to leadership, because when people are fearful, you want to hear from those in higher roles or people with access to information.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of access to information, Sarah, the breadth of your awareness around the industry during this time and for years preceding in addition to your intelligence and your articulation, makes you just such a remarkable person to get to connect with. And I'm so, I bet your clients are really, really grateful for the opportunity to get to work with you.
I'll record that soundbite, but I feel the same back at them. I treat everyone like they are family. I care deeply. I'm very emotionally connected to them. And I believe they all know that. I mean, everyone checks in on one another. How's everyone feeling? How's everyone doing? And I am lucky. I'm very lucky.
That's fantastic. Sarah, is there any particular project that you have coming up or new that you'd like to share with folks, or what's the best way for people to tap into your work on an ongoing basis and keep in touch?
Well, you can always reach out to me on Twitter at PR Sarah with an H Evans. We're always looking at new clients. We only take them on if we're a great cultural and alignment fit. One thing that is different with our company on the PR side of things is that we, or I myself, as every account lead, contracts out a unique team per the needs of that client. So we don't have traditional agency overhead costs or hourly rates. We do things a bit differently based on KPIs and pure alignment, and staffing up based on skill set and talent around whatever that client's needs are.
Wonderful. Well, I sure do appreciate your coming back onto the Sprinklr Coffee Club and taking time out of your day and letting us meet some members of your family. And it's really nice to be in touch with you again. Our thoughts go out to you and yours, and I hope that we can keep in touch.
Thank you. And to everyone listening or watching, please stay healthy and well, and get a chance to meet Marshall if you haven't already. He's great.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Well, thank you everyone for joining us here on this edition of the Sprinklr Coffee Club. We hope that you will join us regularly and go out and connect with Sarah and I and Sprinklr and our communities of people on the social web. We're here to connect with you, and we hope that you have a safe, well, and happy rest of your day. Thank you very much for joining us.